Hey, welcome to P.O.V. On today's show, we're talking about the new millennium women, and we got a panel of new millennium women to talk about their ideas of what a woman's position now is in the world. First, we want to start off with introducing our panel. To my right, I have the very funny comedian extraordinaire and the host of Laugh Medicine in Alexandria, Virginia, producer of the all-female comedy Supreme Showcase, Miss Adela Banks. Hello. Hi. Next, right here, I'm very honored to have this lady right here. She is the former professor of history and currently directs the International Studies and of Women's Studies programs at Howard University Graduate School. I hope I did that right. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Dr. Anita Nahal. Right next to Dr. Nahal, we have an actress who is currently starring as Mia Stevenson on the award-winning TV episodes of Women. This is a web series of Anacostia, which has just wrapped season 2, and episode 1 will be released in a few weeks. Please give it up for Miss Tamika Chavez. I'm tongue-tied. I got a lot of women around me. Okay. Last but certainly not least, we have the CEO and founder of United for Equality, LLC, social justice enterprise, and committed to ratifying the Equal Rights Amendment in the U.S. Constitution by 2015. Pretty cool. Miss Caroline Cook. All right, I got my tongue tied because I'm over here, 4 women. This is not every man's dream, but I'm gonna try to make it happen. I'm gonna get political off the top. Has the tide turned for women? I mean, you know what? Before we were coming on the show, I was sitting in the back in the green room with Dr. Nahal. We were watching ABC News, right. And they had a report tonight. I guess it was just karma that they put on a report tonight about how women now in many of the large cities, in New York, in Raleigh, Durham, in Washington, D.C., in Los Angeles, are earning anywhere between 10 to 18% more than men. But there was a caveat. The caveat was that the women that were earning more than men were under 30. Women who were over 30 still had a lot of catching up to do. So I just want to know, have we really turned the tide, or is it just starting to turn? I'm going to go to Miss Caroline Cook first.
Well, generally speaking, when women and men graduate from college, they're earning about the same. But as they get older, the wage gap widens. Mm-hmm. So I would say that we have not turned the corner yet. Mm-hmm. And that when you look at Lilly Ledbetter, in her case, 20 years being underpaid, being awarded $3 million by a lower court, getting all the way to the Supreme Court and losing it all and walking away with not a dime.
Okay, let me stop you for a second because I want to get everybody's opinion on it. But who is, I'm not familiar with this case.
Lilly Ledbetter was an employee of Goodyear. She worked there for 20 years and she was paid less than all of her male counterparts, even younger than her. And so she was nearing retirement. Okay. Someone slipped her a note to tell her that she had been paid less than all of her male counterparts.
Well, someone just said, look, Lily, they ain't going to tell you, but
exactly.
They short you, girl.
Exactly.
Wow. Dr. Nahal, I mean, we had a very good discussion in the back. Do you think that, you said that these were exceptions right now? Mm-hmm.
Yeah, definitely I agree with you. The tide has not turned, but the process is on. Mm-hmm. And I think it's important to note that, you know, how do you measure success? If you're talking about success, how do you measure it? And success, I would say, is relative, first of all. Mm-hmm. And then, as far as most important thing is legislation. So we have had legislation in terms of, yes, we have been working on the ERA. Last week was a very important day, 26th of August. It was the Women's Equality Day. That was the day that way back in 1971, it was declared by the Congress the Women's Equality Day. Mm-hmm. So these legislations are important because without legislation, you don't have the capacity to struggle. However, the struggle has not translated into reality. Even now, I think women are earning 77 cents to $1.
Well, one of the situations that you're saying legislation, I don't think you can legislate equality. Equality has more to do with the consciousness of an individual, if they look at you as an equal. And I don't think you can legislate that. I think you can tell people they have to, you know, respect and treat people with the same fairness that they would anyone else. But to actually say to equate it, because when you're talking about pay, you're talking about worth. And people can give any reason why they give a different worth for another person's work for whether they be their gender or color or religion. I mean, there are a vast number of ways you can discriminate. Adela, sweetie.
Well, I believe, like my counterparts have said, that I think legislation does play a part, because you do have to start somewhere, and that empowers you, and so that's important. So we have to use whatever tools we can, and if legislation is a part of the process, then I welcome it. But I think that you made a point too. We also need to be empowered. We need to know this information. We need to have the information, women. We need to be educated and informed.
Well, I don't think that's a problem. In fact, in the ABC report, it was saying that for every 2 guys that graduate college now, 3 women graduate. And it's just known as a fact. If you have that college degree compared to just having a high school diploma, you earn on average $30,000 more.
But it's not translating to CEOs. 2 to 3% of Fortune 500 CEOs are women. We have 17% in Congress. We've never had a woman president. So whether women are graduating in greater numbers than men, it is not translating in terms of the senior decision-making partners in law firms, doctors, professors in universities. It's not translating.
I understand that, but I think, like I said, the tide is turning. I mean, women are the majority of the well, I don't want to say the majority. They are the majority of the population, as far as saying that. It's percentage-wise, they're like 50 or 60% of the population. 55% or 60% of the population. And I mean, but that's never counted for anything. I mean, usually in the history, at least in recent history, minorities have always suppressed the rights of the majority groups, no matter where you look at in recent history, whether you go to South Africa, whether you look at women's rights or whatever, or anything else. But Tamika, I'm sorry I didn't give you a chance. What are your thoughts on it?
Well, to be honest, I can sit here and pretend to be intellectual, but as a mom raising girls that I want them to do better than me, I think with the generation now and the generation that's coming out of college now compared to the generation that came out 20 years ago, I do think that there is an improvement because women or girls and young women are being pushed to do better than we have years ago. So,
well, what do you think is the major factor? Now, okay, we can go in through, you know, discrimination starts from here, from how their traditional roles for each of the genders, male, female, or whatever. I have my own theory. I was talking to the doctor in the back, and I said that you know, most of it comes from religion. That's not a blight on religion, even though I have my own arguments against it and everything. But I think a lot of the discriminations came out here were, if not started, reinforced, and strengthened by people of faith, or quote unquote faith, who said this is the way God wanted it. And that was how they perpetrated this mindset throughout the ages that this group was supposed to do this and that group was supposed to do that.
Well, actually, I wouldn't just generalize and say that people of faith did it. I think it's culture. And within culture, I would say patriarchal. And most cultures are patriarchal. And men who have been the ones in power, they are and mostly men. In almost all societies you see around the world, with due respects to you, but men are the ones who have decided how things are going to be done, what kind of legislation to be passed, when to be passed and not. But to go back to your point, just one, I think that legislation is very important. You said that you may have legislation, but still a person may not earn the same. Can you hold that one? I got to take a break. We'll be right back with more POV with Vic Christian, and when we do come back, the doctor's going to finish her thought, and we're going to talk about, is the country ready for a female president? Don't go anywhere. Give some drugs, man.